a little bit about self-care. We're kind of, I don't know, even if the world wasn't crazy, we would need some self-care, right? But I think we especially need some self-care when we are faced with the ongoing challenges. And especially, it's sometimes darkest before the dawn, like as the vaccines roll out and people are antsy and maybe jumping the gun a little bit too much in certain places to get things back to normal. And I know everybody's really needing connection and losing the masks and all these things, but we need to stay the course for a little longer. And I think a big piece of that is pausing for a little retreat and taking time to take care of yourself. And a lot of times, we choose to, there's so many reasons why we choose not to take care of ourselves, but sometimes it can just be a matter of time. Like, oh, I don't have an hour, so I'm not going to do yoga. Or, oh, I don't have an hour, so I'm not going to go, whatever you're going, whatever you choose to do to take care of yourself. So we can have like 5-minute little windows throughout the day where we pause and breathe and do really important things to care for ourselves. And I wanted to, so I know some of you have done this before, so we're going to do this today. So before I get going, everybody go find 3 rubber bands and a kitchen towel or a hand towel or something. And if you don't have rubber bands, hair ties, whatever you got. Maggie's she's just got it going on because she always uses it every day. So whatever kind of thickness you want for a hand towel, this is my favorite thickness. It's just a terry cloth hand towel. And while everybody's off running to go find their things, if you're still here, just pause for a moment. And if you have your little roll, you can start by putting it, and just experiment while we wait for people. So I'm going to keep talking. There's some other self-massage tools that I think are really great. Here's one of my favorites. If you've never seen this before, this is called the Theracane. You can find them all over the place. It's called the Theracane, and you can use it to, get into all nooks and crannies. And because you have a lever, it's a really great tool. You can get it all over your back and everywhere you need it to be. So it's called the Theracane. It's got knobs all over the place for good spots. So that's a must. That comes out of in my house on a weekly basis for sure. And then there's all sorts of other things you can do. Like I have all sorts of balls, different size balls, different shape balls. I have a unified thing. Maggie knows this too. She borrowed this for a while that can go underneath the base of your skull. There's so many different self-massage tools out there. I even have little baby ones that fit the size for my hands and my fingers, little things. So whatever you find around your house, old school pinky balls. Remember when we used to play when we were kids with pink? I don't know if anybody played with pinky balls, but they're like rubber bouncy balls. Those are great balls because of the rubber, because they can really torque on your skin really well and do some fascial release work. So whatever you have that you like. My last thing I'm gonna give a little shout out for is, let's see if I can find the label of this box so you can see it, but it's called Miracle Balls, the Miracle Ball method. And these balls I like because they're kind of squishy. So they really melt, and you can put them in lots of places, like in the sides of your ribs, or even, in your belly. If you lay kind of on your side, you can have it all around the rim of the pelvis. So there's lots of use for having squish instead of something really hard across your SI joints and all sorts of places. So I highly recommend, instead of paying for a massage, spend the money and pay for some self-massage tools so that you can help yourself whenever you need it. So those are some of my recommendations. So hopefully everybody's got their roll towel with 3 rubber bands on it now. So just put that off to the side. We're going to use it in a moment. We're going to just, have some self-care in our practice today. So let's go ahead and sit up straight and tall and take a moment to drop ins, to feel yourself settle into the body. So whatever, I'm sure there's so much going on in your mind and in your schedule. Your busyness can sometimes be a weight on you. So let's just see if we can slough off some of that. We are here now. Come into your breath. What does it feel like to drop some weight, to feel some softness, to settle the shoulders? Allow your sit bones to drop a little deeper into whatever you're sitting on. Feel the alignment of the spine. If you were here yesterday when we worked a lot with the fluid body, can you access a bit of your fluid body? Relaxing through your joint spaces, feeling the breath as a friend. Notice if it's difficult for you to center, to ground, to relax in the beginning of your practice. And that's okay. So that's why we practice, to get us in our bodies, present, able to feel where attention lies. So place your palms together at your heart and take a moment to offer something around the intention of self care. What is it that you need? And are you able to care for self, but also are you able to ask for help? Sometimes this is one of the most challenging things. So, can part of your self care is knowing where others can help you and asking for that help? Part of self care is helping others. So, offer an intention. Okay, and then let's release the hands and come on to our mat. So bring your little rolled towel if you're, so if you, I think you, everybody can see, but I just rolled up the towel, and then, and if you don't have three rubber bands, two is enough, one for each side. Okay, so let's just come onto our backs here. And first, before we use the rolled towel, let's just get used to being horizontal. So hopefully it's not been too many hours since you've been in bed, and see what it feels like to have a little bit of weight drop into your body. Drop in. Feel the shoulders relax toward the floor. Settle the spine. With your knees bent and your feet on the floor, can you feel the neutral pelvis? Start to explore your breath. Notice the inhale and where it goes. Notice the exhale and where it goes. What is the quality of the mind as you breathe in and you breathe out? What is the quality, the tone in the body as you breathe in and you breathe out? All right, let's stretch our arms up overhead and lengthen through your body. Reach the right side, reach the left side. Just get some things awake. And then bring your knees into your chest and rock a little bit from side to side. We're going to be doing some top to bottom rocking in just a moment. Rocking is so soothing for the nervous system. It stimulates your parasympathetic nervous system, that part of you that's all about rest and recovery. All right, let's circle the knees. And then circle the knees the other direction. Feel your sacrum, notice your hips, and then pull your knees in and swing them out away from each other. So going on a little bit of a circle motion or straight motion, whatever feels good for your hip joints. And then put your feet down onto the ground, and let's windshield wiper your knees and try to access your spine a little bit. You can even, kind of go a little further all the way, turn your head in opposition. So just getting a little warm up in the twisting action of the spine. And then stretch your limbs, arms and legs spreading out. Wiggle your fingers and toes while you're here. Just get in touch with the edges of your body. And then knees draw in. of your chin. One more time. Open yourself out. Exhale, draw yourself in. So now if you haven't done this with me before, I'll explain it. We're going to start with the action of this is going to be like a little tiny bolster underneath you. So we're going to start, we're going to start with this right at the top edge of our shoulder blades, and we're going to come down the whole spine. So there's a couple of important little tips that you need for rocking on this rolled towel. First of all, it shouldn't be too extreme. Nothing should be too extreme. This is just for hydrating a lot of the joints and fascia and muscles along your spine. So when your knees are bent, feet are on the floor, we're going to push off of our heels or off of our whole foot, whatever's comfortable for you, so that our spine ends up going, moving toward the spot, toward the crown, and then toward the tail. So we're up, down in our rocking instead of side, side. So notice we'll do this for just a moment, but while we start learning how to do this before we add the arms in. So notice if your pelvis is tilting, if you're going into a pelvic rocking, an anterior and a posterior rocking, try to keep the pelvis really neutral. So the whole spine is what we're moving with our feet instead of just our pelvis. So it gets it's a teeny bit of work in your quads, but not a lot. This should be pretty subtle. And then with the arm position, as soon as you have the rocking going, we're going to do 3 different positions with the arms. The arms are straight over your chest. So our hands are right on top of our sternum. And this creates a little bit of forward flexion in the spine, very subtle. And then we're going to lift our arms overhead if it's comfortable. We'll go where your body can go. And this puts us into a little extension. Keep rocking the whole time. And then we're going to come back to the arms right over our chest. And we're going to turn our head and bring our arms over to the right. And then we're going to pick our arms back up and bring our head and arms over to the left. So essentially through this action, we're getting flexion, extension, and rotation in the spine while rocking. And then we're going to move down. So slide move your shoulder blades so that now the rolled towel is somewhere in the middle of your shoulder blades. And we're going to go down the whole spine like this. So you're in charge of the pace, flexion, extension, rotation. Okay, so moving the hands straight up in the sky, arms overhead to whatever place is comfortable for your shoulders, and then back up and then turning to the right, and arms and head turning to the left. So and then moving down again. So you find your way. So you can go slow. If you find spots that you're like, oh yeah, this is exactly where my body needs a little love today, then hang out there and try to be really soft in your arms. Try to be soft in your pelvis, soft in your head. The skull is resting on the floor. There's no rush to go anywhere. Self-care, does not, even if sometimes we don't have much time, try to be leisurely in the time that you have, so that you don't complicate the soothing nature of the nervous system with a feeling of rushing. Okay? I don't know anybody who likes to rush. So we all have so much rushing. We rush all the time. So use an opportunity to not feel like you have to rush. It's not like you have to slow down and go in slow-mo, but you can just take your time. Suspend time. Don't even think about time. And then just keep moving the roll towel down as you go, and check in constantly to make sure that the rocking is coming from the push off of your feet and not from a weird movement in your pelvis. So we want to keep a nice, neutral, passive pelvis. And you may find that some places are much, much, much more fun to do than others. So just see where your body's at. Remember, one of the most important things you're doing while you do this is breathing. Can you melt into the floor? Can you find your breath? Can you relax your limbs as much as possible? Can you breathe into the sensations in your spine that you're feeling? And in some places you may feel like, what am I doing? What is this doing? And you may not know the fruits of this until you do this a few times. It's a really nice thing to do for your spine. If you sit a lot, or if you tense a lot and round your chest or shoulders because of that tension, this is a great thing to do. When you get close to your diaphragm, notice the breath. You may find that this can help also with some of the binding you have of your diaphragm. Okay, so there's absolutely no rush, but when you do, you might get to a place. I'm not there yet. I'm nowhere near there yet. But if you're going a lot faster than I'm going, you might have already gotten down to your low back. And if you did, and don't worry if you're still like at your shoulder blades, because like I said, take your sweet time. But when you do get down to the low back, you might feel like, oh, now this isn't doing much for me anymore. So at that point, you can bend the knees and bring them toward the chest, and you can hold your knees and rock onto your low back a little bit. It's a little harder to do the extension and the rotation if you feel like you need to hold your knees, so you can try not holding your knees. And then once you get down to the sacrum, probably it'll feel good to put your feet back down on the floor. So experiment with where your low back needs some adjustment because of the curve in your lumbar spine. So taking your own sweet time, have you discovered a spot that has said to you, wow, I didn't know that I needed that? You know, often when I get to the attachment of my diaphragm on the very bottom back ribs, that's when I often feel a release that I didn't know I needed. So make sure you're staying in the breath. Make sure the rocking is coming from this just rhythmic gentleness of movement of the feet instead of a weird pelvic thrusting going on that is so common. People have a hard time sometimes letting the body just relax into the movement instead of trying to control the movement. Do you like this? Are you present with yourself? Are you breathing well? So wherever you are in the process, are you able to yield? Are you able to melt? Is there a quality that the rhythmic movement is giving you, even without the flexion, extension, and rotation, and the towel underneath you? Can you feel just the rocking being very soothing to the nervous system? Melt your eyes, melt all the tension in your face, relax as best as you can. It's a little hard for me to see where you all are at because everybody's computers are not facing the floor. So even though I can see you all in the side corner of my screen, it's a little hard to tell. So I'm just going to go by the couple people that I can see to judge where you are. Okay. We're almost, I think we're getting closer to being finished. And if you finish before other people, this is your opportunity to breathe. Okay, so you can just come into a constructive rest position. You can be with your feet, anything really that you want, any position that feels good to you. And take a moment as you're waiting for everyone to catch up to you if you were fast, to just breathe. So just come into a state of ease, no rushing. The body is relaxed. Almost like a little mini Shavasana before we even begin the actual work of moving our bodies. And as you come to completion, how are you? How do you feel? Is there anything in your body that feels a little different now, a little bit more at ease? And when you are ready, when you are finished, and there's no rush if you're still enjoying that and you want to keep enjoying that, just keep enjoying that. Otherwise, bring your knees to your chest, roll over onto your side, and come up onto all fours. All right, so now your spine is primed. It's already warmed up a little bit. So as we move into the cat-cows, feel a little fuller movement here of flexion and extension. Things don't have to be really big in your body for them to be therapeutic in your body. So, you don't have to do the biggest back bend that exists in order for you to get all the goodness that back bends have to offer. Swirl your body around, anything that feels nice. Deep breaths here. And now let's do a twist. Reach the arm up in the air, and as you slide that shoulder down, open up the shoulder blades, open up the rib cage on the back, breathe, let your neck relax. And then inhale and reach that arm all the way back up and place the hand down onto the ground. Second side. Lifting the arm to the sky, sliding that shoulder down. Gaze toward the floor and breathe. All right, and then inhale. Reach that arm all the way up to the sky. Place the hand down. Find your way into dog pose and enjoy every bit of this dog pose. So what does it feel like to wake up your feet? You want your eyes opened or closed? What does it feel like to pedal? So bend one knee and drop the other heel down and feel the Achilles stretch, the calves stretch. Feel the sit bones lift so you get this into your hamstrings too. If there's a zing down the back of your leg, is it enjoyable to you? See what it feels like to find some movement in the hips, perhaps, maybe lifting one hip up and then the other hip up. Just see what kind of movement is making your body feel good, awake, alive, at peace. Soften the shoulders just a little bit and then push off the ground. Feel the roots to rise. So as you push your hands into the earth, extend through the shoulder joints, reach your heart up toward the pelvis. Feel the full length of the spine and then bobble your head around. Let things go. Full deep rib cage breath. And then walk your feet forward and come into Uttanasana. Fold a little bit. Keep shaking, moving. You can wag your tail. You can roll around in your shoulders, bobble your head. Inhale for a halfway lift. The spine is growing. Exhale and melt back down. Push off your feet. Rise all the way up. Come to a standing posture. Lift your arms. Take a deep breath. Lean back. Open the heart. Exhale and release. Shake out your hands. Shake your body. Okay, so that same kind of rocking that we had on the floor, can you just find it one more time standing? So we're just pushing off our feet. You don't have to jump. Just bounce a little bit. So good to loosen a lot in your body. And then stillness. Inhale, arms up to the sky, big circles, fold forward. Relax the spine, relax the head. Inhale for a halfway lift. Grow a little bit longer. Then exhale and melt back down. Let's do that one more time. Feel the extension, sit bones high, long spine, deep breath in. Exhale comes into a melting. Bend your knees, let your head relax. Step your left foot back, come into a lunge, find your breath. Open your chest, feel that heel stretch back, breathing deep. Start to straighten your leg a couple of times, bending your knee a couple of times, coming into the movement of warming the body. Into a lunge you go, rise up. Find your way to a crescent lunge. Open the heart. Feel the extension. Breathe deeply. Maybe cactus the arms open. See what the back body's capable of right now. And then release your hands down to your hips. Find your breath. Reach just your left arm up, up, up. Feel that extension through your whole side body all the way into your hip flexors. Breathe deeply. Relax the hands down onto the ground. Back foot comes forward, fold again. Halfway lift, the spine grows tall. Exhale and melt back down. Step your other foot back. So right foot is coming back, left foot is forward. Finding a lunge, opening your legs up a little bit and feeling that extension and flexion of your front knee. Come into your breath as you bend your front knee and straighten your front leg. Make sure you're fluid, moving with breathing. All right, and then find your way into a lunge. When you're steady, rise up, bring both arms to the sky. Maybe they don't go there, maybe they go somewhere else. Can you open the heart? Can you feel the expansion that you've cultivated by all that movement we did along the spine? Are you a little more free, a little more open through the thoracic spine? And place your hand on your hip and stretch that arm up and over. Feel the reach. Breathe in. Breathe out. And then release your arms, hands down onto the ground, back into dog pose, extending through the spine, breathing into the length, breathe into the yielding. Inhale, come forward into a plank. Hold yourself steady. Deep breaths in, stabilize through your core on your exhales. Come all the way down to the ground. Come and find Sphinx pose. Forearms come forward. Lift and extend your heart. Feel the legs stretch as well. Try not to dip and sink into the lumbar spine. Exhale and melt back down. Take your fingertips onto the ground. Take a deep breath in. Open up. Turn your head to the right. Exhale and come back down. Another breath in. Turn your head to the left. Exhale and melt back down. Up onto all fours. Move the spine around. If back bends kind of do a number on your body, see what you can do to move your spine and release tension from any pose that happens. If it's back bends, release from that. If it's forward bends, release from that. Find your way to dog pose as you're ready. Breathing deeply, extending through the spine. Lift the right leg up in the air. Stack open the right hip. Take a deep breath into that side. And then exhale, square the hips again. Deep breath in. Exhale, knee to nose. Round the spine. Inhale, bring it on back. Exhale, bring your foot down. Second side, left leg up. Stack open the hip. Feel your breath here. Try not to sink into the right side of your body. Then square the hips again. Stretch that leg. Take a deep breath in. Exhale, knee to nose. Bring it on back. 2 feet coming down onto the ground. Walk your feet forward. What foot do you always bring forward first? Just notice. See if you can make a mental note to try a little different pathway sometimes. Walk yourself into Uttanasana. Utkatasana. See if you can drop into chair pose. Allow your weight to drop down. Inhale, arms up. See what that thoracic spine is doing. If you need a different position, take your arms out. Bring your arms back. Hands at your heart. Anything that you need. Draw the weight of your knees back into your hips. Feel the weight come deeply into the heels. Find your breathing. We're going to move with this. Inhale, come up onto your tippy toes. Lean back a little bit if you're able. Heels back down, round the spine just a little bit. Tuck the chin toward the chest. Inhale, up you go. Finding the breath. Don't worry if you're wobbly, it's okay. Heels down. This time don't round the spine. Lengthen the spine. Crown and tail long. Reach the arms away from your shoulders, palms facing the floor. Engage your triceps. Deep breaths here. Okay. And then come on up just to stand. Heels stay down. Open the chest and release the arms. Interlace your fingers behind your back. Take your feet hip width apart, a little bit wider. Open the chest here. Bend your knees and bring your arms wherever they go, away from the spine. Relax your neck. Release your hands down to the ground. Halfway lift. And then let's melt and come down to the ground again with your hands. Step your left foot back, right foot is forward. Plant the back heel down. Rise up, Virabhadrasana 1. So this pose can often sink into the low back. Try not to do that. You can even lean forward a little bit if this is your body's way. Relax the shoulders. Find that full breath. And then when you're ready, we're going to turn and open up to the side and find Virabhadrasana 2, Warrior 2. Let's move while we're here. Feel the fluidity. Inhale, hands coming to the heart. Exhale, hands coming out. Inhale, arms coming up high. Legs straightens. Exhale. Hang out here now. Drop the shoulders. Feel the steadiness. If your traps are all locked up, bring your arms down and just shake them for a minute. Feel the shoulders melt. And then maybe try a different position. Sometimes if you keep your elbows bent and the palms up, your traps will relax just a little bit more, and you can get the work to be lower in your lower traps instead of your upper traps. Find your breath, any position that's working for your body. Breathing deeply, rooting into both feet, ground yourself. Okay, let's rise up to that side body stretch. Open the rib cage up for breathing. Okay, straighten the leg and find a triangle pose. So don't worry about how far deep you go. See if instead you can have enough room, enough space where both sides of your ribs are extending. We're not collapsing down and overstretching one side. Are your legs grounded? Root your feet into the earth. Turn the navel. Stay rooted through your back heel. Drop the shoulders away from the ears. How's your front big toe? Can you root it into the earth as well? Try not to lock the knee out. A little micro bend in the knee. Okay. And then come up and reverse the triangle pose. Reach into that extension. Feel the side ribs. And then find your way back down to your mat and come back to dog pose. Extending through the spine, feeling the deep breath, lengthen. Come forward into a plank. Hold yourself steady. So this deep grounding into the center body. Find your breath. Stay with your breath. And put your knees down onto the ground and slowly lower yourself down to the floor. Inhale, cobra pose this time. Exhale, and melt back down. Come up onto your hands and knees. Move that spine around. Explore what kind of movement feels really nice for you right now. And then either go into dog pose or just bring your left foot forward. So you decide how, if you're trying to skip dog poses, if your shoulders don't like repetitive dog poses, there's lots of ways to accommodate and choose something different. Plant the back heel down onto the ground and rise up into Virabhadrasana 1. So remember to not sink into the lumbar spine. It is a thoracic back bend if your arms are up overhead. So if you struggle with that lumbar spine, try different things. You can lean forward just slightly. You can take your arms in a different position. So many choices to give you stability so you're not dumping into the low back. Root both feet into the earth. How's that back knee? Is it hyperextended? How's your breath? Can you get those traps to slide down away from the ears a little bit more? Okay, and then let's turn and open up to the side, Virabhadrasana 2. As you come into this pose, let's move. Okay, so inhale, gather up toward the heart. Exhale, and release back out. Inhale, 2 arms up. Exhale, steady yourself now. Remember, any position with the arms. If you struggle with having your shoulders being attached to your ears, see what it feels like to bend the elbows and let the shoulders drop down. Create some space in your neck. And you can work the shoulder blades in a different way. They can hug toward the spine just a bit from the bottom tips so that you're working with the lower traps instead of the upper traps. Open your breath. And if you stretch your arms out, See if you can maintain that work so we're not just lifting our shoulders up toward our ears. Sometimes it helps to turn the palms open. How are your legs? Are you grounding? And then when you're ready, reach that arm all the way up to the sky. Feel the side bend. Breathe deeply and fully. And as you're ready, straighten the leg and find triangle pose. Blocks can be so helpful. You can also put your hand on your leg some more. Try not to bear weight on your knee. Okay, so wherever you end up, see if you can feel that sense that both sides of your body are creating that length. Are your feet grounded? Is your front knee unlocked? Can you feel the big toe move into the earth? Can you feel your back heel move into the earth? Are you allowing your pelvis to turn a little bit so that your sacrum feels natural and neutral in the back of your body? Open up to whatever place your body goes. All right, and then find your way. Find that reverse triangle pose to stretch through the other side. Deep breaths here. And then relax. And let's come back to the front of your mat. Finding either all fours or dog pose, whatever feels nice. Feel the extension in your spine. Take a deep breath. Okay. Come forward into a plank if you were in dog pose. Hold steady, stabilize. And then we're going to put our knees down and come all the way down to the floor. Interlace your hands behind your back. Okay. Notice if your shoulders just roll to the floor. So if this is not available to you, unwind your hands, place your palms on the floor, palms facing down. So whichever variation you're choosing to do, we're going to lift everything up. See what it feels like to keep the legs together. Oftentimes we do a lot of this with our legs apart. Notice the difference. Feel your breath. Let your diaphragm move you. Keep the back of the neck long. The shoulders are moving away from the ears. All right, melt your body down to the floor. Turn your head to one side or the other. Relax. And if this isn't comfortable, try a different position. Sometimes even just picking up the feet and rocking from side to side can make your back feel a little bit better than just lying flat. Enjoy the prone body, the face down body. Turn your head the other way. Is it nurturing to you to lie on your belly? Does it feel good? All right, let's come back up. Come on to all fours. Take some time. Sometimes even just lying on your belly can be irritating to your back if you've got some lumbar spine stuff. So just move from side to side or do some circles. Find whatever's working. And then settle back into child's pose. Take your arms wherever they're comfortable. If they can go overhead, great. And if not, a different position is fine. Relax your neck. Feel the softness coming into the floor. All right, let's find our way into pigeon pose. So we're going to do some poses down on the ground now. So feel that sense of support. If you need blankets or blocks, take what you need for this pose. Right leg forward first. If you need to come into reverse pigeon pose on your back, that's a great alternative if you need it. Make sure that you're not kind of leaning onto your right side like this. You want to have square hips, so you might need more height underneath your right sit bone to make that happen. If you're ready to come down, let's find the block to support underneath your head so that the pose becomes a little bit more melting. The base of your skull is easily relaxed. Now, discover whether complete stillness helps you dip into relaxation more, or perhaps a little rocking. It can be the top bottom rock, it can be side side rock, and it's very subtle, very subtle. Just notice what's available to you to let your body settle into the stretch. Is the base of your skull relaxed? Do you want to rock your head from side to side on that block? Can you be soothed by movement or soothed by stillness? Stay in the presence of your breath. And now to come out of this pose, we're not coming out, we're coming up. So feel the extension. What's available for you to open your chest in this pose without crunching your lumbar spine? Can you extend through your legs? Can you hug your knees into the pelvis? Can you feel the extension of the spine, the work of your core? Relax the shoulders. And then release and find yourself coming out of the pose. So if you are if you want to just switch like I just did by just swinging your back leg around, you can do that. If you feel the need to stretch open that hip, then come into dog pose and lift the leg up. Whatever's working for you, and find your way coming to the second side. So I don't know about you, but my hips are very different from one side to the other. So you might notice that you need something very different on this pose. You might need to go on your back. Maybe you don't need to go on your back and you can come into pigeon pose. Are you supported with blankets as much as you need so that your body feels comfortable? If we're hanging, our nervous system does not relax. So feel the extension of the spine as you come down. Even your head hanging can be disruptive to the ease in your nervous system. So put a block underneath your head, underneath your forehead. Let the base of your skull relax. Feel the skin on your face fall toward the earth. Any tension through your face, let go. The hips stay square. You can plug the knees into the pelvis a little bit. Feel the sit bones widen. Feel the spine grow. Try not to crunch up anywhere. And then, of course, stillness is a beautiful thing. Just being with the breath, as can just a little bit of rocking. You can have just your head rock from side to side. You can have your pelvis rock. Whatever is working for you, experiment. Make sure you're breathing. All right, and then to find the upward nature of the pose, maybe your hands come on the block. Maybe they're closer to the floor. Extend the spine. Feel the support so we're not just sinking into the floor. And then relax and come out of the pose. However you come out of the pose, whether you want to go into dog pose for a moment or something else. And then make sure you have two blocks. I'm sitting on the edge of a blanket. So we're going to open our legs up into Upavista Konasana. So, our inner thighs, sometimes, we do a lot, obviously, in yoga to stretch and open the whole body. But it's nice to take some time just to stretch your inner hamstrings and your inner thighs. So feel the spine grow. Flex your feet. Step away from your most extreme. So if you feel like I can go further, do that and then back away a couple of inches or an inch or however far. So you're not a taut rubber band in your legs. Make sure your pelvis is neutral so you're not rolling back on the sit bones. You want to be on the sacrum. You want to be on the center of your sit bones. And then if you feel like this is too much, you can always put blocks underneath your knees. That's the first way you can support yourself. I find blankets more comfortable than blocks, but if you need some knees bent, support underneath your knees. Now we're going to come forward to whatever place you can. Flex your feet, stretch from the big toes out through the big toes and the inner heels. Stay grounded. Feel the pelvis ground, feel the legs ground. So we're rooting into the earth. And then as we come forward a little bit, you get to decide. You can stack up blocks, like really high so that your head can be supported in your hands. Maybe it's one lower, one higher, elbows down, support your head in your hands. So just find a prop, a perch that you can eventually get your head on either your palms, or if you're more flexible, you might even find your head coming onto the block itself. So lose the goal of going low, because usually what happens is we end up rounding our back to do that. Feel the long spine, the rooted legs. We don't want the stretch to be solely at the inner knees and sit bones. Make sure the belly of the muscle in your inner thighs and inner hamstrings are where the pose is being received. Back away until that's your receptive spot. Come into the breath. Relax your face. If you're supporting your forehead, melt into that support. Breathe deeply. All right, and then when you're ready to come out, come sit back up, bring your legs in. I'm going to take my blanket and I'm going to sit on the teeny edge instead of the wide edge of it. But you can do whatever you want, because for this, you usually only need one sit bone on the edge of a blanket. So adjust your blanket however is comfortable for you. We're going to have the legs come off to the right, and our left sit bone is on the blanket. The right sit bone is kind of hanging down in that pocket. I have the front of my foot resting in the arch of my other foot, so your knees are in line with your hips and your feet are off to the side. Take a deep breath, reach that arm up, take another deep breath while you're there, and then exhale your way over into the twist. So hand comes onto the knee. You can always put a block behind you if you need a little height to have the hand on so that you're staying long in your spine. Deep breaths in, deep breaths away. Try to drop the sit bone down into the pocket. Try turning your head in 2 different directions. So first, turn your head with the twist all the way, even your eye muscles. And then after a couple of breaths of that, keep the whole torso turning, including the chest, and only turn your head back toward your knees. Okay, and then relax and come out of there. And let's come to the second side. So bring your knees over, finding the breath. So you're stacking the front of your, the top foot in the arch of the bottom foot. The knees are in line with the hips. The left sit bone is sinking into a little pocket toward the floor. The right sit bone is supported on a blanket. The hand is behind you. You can support underneath your hand with a block. Inhale, lift the left arm up in the air and then bring it to the outside of the knee. Feel your collarbones open. Drop your sit bone down. Use your breath to do the twisting. Turn your head all the way, including your eyes. Have a couple of breaths here. And then when you're ready, you can turn your head back the other way. Look at your knees. Chest is moving one direction, head is moving the other. Collarbones stay open. Drop the sit bone down. And then relax your head wherever you want it to be. Find whatever position is comfortable. Lengthen into your crown, drop your sit bones. And let's come out of the pose and come to lie down on your back. Bring your knees to your chest. Rocking a little bit, swaying from side to side. and then feet down onto the ground. So let's decide what your body is needing right now. So any restorative pose that you want to do. You could put your legs up on a couch or up a wall. You can come into Upavista Konasana. You can do child's pose over a bolster. There's so many choices. If you need to do a little happy baby pose before we find what you're going to do, anything that you need now for some neutral spine, take it. And then choose the restorative pose that's in your wheelhouse today. So you can do heart bench over 2 blocks. Supta Konasana is the one where your feet are together and your knees butterfly out. You can support yourself with lots of props or only minimal props. Minimal props would include just supporting with blankets or blocks underneath each leg so that your legs are not hanging. If you want to put blankets or bolsters underneath your spine and be on a ramp, that's great too. If you're going to do leg up the wall pose, you can have your legs straight up a wall, or you can do like I'm doing and put your calves up on a chair or a couch. There's lots of other choices. I think those are probably people's top 2 choices. But if you have a bolster and you want to do child's pose over the bolster, you can do halasana, plow pose. You could do heart bench over the 2 blocks. You could just lie down for a longer shavasana. You could do a twist over a bolster. There's so many choices. So let's find whatever is working for you. And these are our few minutes. The whole practice is about caring for you, but these are some concentrated moments here to learn to let go, to feel nurtured by your rest and relaxation. So as your body melts, as you feel the ease, can this be nourishing to you? Can you stay with your breath? Exhale and melt a little bit more. Whatever posture you've chosen, is your body at ease? Is your body supported? Can your breath feed you everything that you need in this moment? Remember the beauty of the long exhales, breathing through your nose as much as you can. At any time, you can change your position and come into Shavasana, and you can also stay here for the entirety of Shavasana. So whatever you're choosing, just commit to the deep rest, letting the body go, to finding the ease across your face, softness in your shoulders, the mobility and rest and softness in your spine. Does it feel free when you breathe? Do you feel your body move a bit with your breath? Every exhale melting a bit more. As we prepare to come out of Shavasana, first explore just the deep feeling of it for just a couple of more breaths. Can you savor the sensation of dropping your body into rest? Can you savor the breath? Is this a feeling of self-care for you? Do you feel able to nurture yourself in this way? Let's gather up what we've gained and move a bit. Feel free to stretch, wiggle, rock. Roll over onto your side as you're ready. And use your arms to help yourself come up to sit. take a moment to put our hands over our heart or wherever in your body you'd like to hold. Give yourself some self-love. And then let's offer this energy of our rest and rejuvenation outward. Send forth your love to another. Namaste. Thank you, everyone.